Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is FPL Elma. Today we're going to be going through my Game Week 7 team selection as well as my Game Week 7 transfer thoughts and my Game Week 6 team review. I think we are around 3 subscribers away from 800. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a like, and make sure you hit that bell, don't miss any content going up on the channel. Not wasting any much time, let's get straight into it. So first, I'm going to go through my Game Week 6 team review. Managed to score 65 points, a very good game week with a green arrow from 3.5 M to 1.9 million. And a very huge green arrow, as I've mentioned, and I'm really happy with that. Only slight thing is I did not use my triple captain as I said I was going to do. I thought Burnley were going to pack the defense, but they ended up playing very expansively, and Haaland got two late goals. I was very happy he was going to getting an assist and to make my plan all genius, but he managed to grab a brace late on. But so we had Sanchez in goal with 1 point. Richards managed to pick 4 points, just a DEFCON monster there. Then you had Van der Veen and Nico Williams 2 and 1 respectively. Salah blanking once again for 2 points. Semenyo scored, so 7 points from him. Kudus blanked, 2 points. Unfortunately, hit the post early on in the game, but 2 points. Very disappointing display against Wolves. Then you had Doku with two assists for 10 points, I think two bonus points. Reinders blanked, 2 points. Haaland, as I've mentioned, two goals and an assist for 32 points as the captain. Joe Pedro blanked, 2 points. On the bench, Dubravka, 1 point. Diouf got an assist, so 5 points. Esteve with two own goals, -2. And Gui did not play as usual, so 0 points. So all in all, very good game week. Just a slight disappointment that I did not use my triple captain on Haaland, but I'm sure there'll be another time to use him before we turn over into match day game week 19. So with that, now let's look at what game week 7 has in store for us. So this is what game week 7 will be planning on doing. I have two transfers in mind, but I've not yet decided which transfer I'm looking to do. So the first transfer is finally moving on from Salah and bringing in Saka, who of course has scored on Wednesday night in the Champions League game against Olympiacos. He did not start, so it gave me a bit of a boost that he might play a lot of minutes against leaky West Ham defense, and maybe I should consider bringing him into the team. So that's something I'm considering at the moment. As you can see, Arsenal have very good fixtures: West Ham, Fulham, Burnley, and Sunderland in their next five. Even plus, Palace was an easy fixture. They've just beat Liverpool and they look very strong defensively. So I'd say 4 out of the 5 fixtures are very winnable fixtures for a team that are challenging for the league. And of course, their star man is back. He's also on set pieces. So I think it's only right to think about Salah to Saka at the moment, but it's not something I've considered doing right at this moment in time. Now let's look at the second transfer I'm thinking of doing. The next transfer I'm thinking of doing is Nico Williams to Calafiori. Of course, Calafiori did not play against Olympiacos in the Champions League, so of course he was given that rest, and Miles Kelly started. So that's another boost that Calafiori is going to play a lot of minutes against West Ham. So it's definitely worth a look at bringing in Calafiori into the team. And of course, after game week 7, I think is an international break. So I don't want to use a -4 and have injury during the international break that I cannot cater for. So, but I think I'm going to be most likely going to be using my wild card over the international break. But that's a story for another day. So just something to look at: Nico Williams to Calafiori or Salah to Saka. Let me know down in the comments which transfer you do, or you take a -4 to make these transfers possible against a very poor West Ham team. So that's the second transfer. Now let's look at how I'm going to be lining up for game week 7. So for game week 7, this is how we're going to be lining up. In goal, you're going to be having Sanchez against Liverpool. Not an ideal fixture, but Liverpool have been looking very poor in front of goal. They manage not to score against Galatasaray, who conceded 5 goals to Frankfurt in match day one in the Champions League. So slight concern there. So I'm hoping for a clean sheet, or maybe not a clean sheet, but just hope for some save points from Sanchez there. And then we have Van de Ven against Leeds. Of course, now the news that Romero might be out for that Game Week 7 fixture, a slight concern on that defensive structure, on that defensive power from Spurs. But I do hope with Van de Ven in there, that experience, they're able to keep a clean sheet. But they looked very poor defensively against Wolves, so just have to wait and see. Also looked very poor against Bodo Glimt defensively, to be fair. So we'll just have to hope and hope that Leeds cannot be that threatening, and hoping for a clean sheet there. Then you have Richards against Everton. Of course, and of course, Van de Ven, I think, did score against Bodo Glimt, so hope we can be able to replicate that as well. Then you have Richards against Everton. Everton been looking a little bit shaky in front of goal. Of course, drew 1-1 with West Ham. So I'm hoping that Crystal Palace can be able to keep a clean sheet against Everton, and just more DEFCON points for Richards will be very much appreciated. Then you have Nico Williams against Newcastle. Newcastle, of course, did win against Union Saint G in the Champions League, but they did lose to Arsenal in Game Week 6. Not they're very good going forward with the likes of Voltemada and well, Nottingham Forest have looked very poor defensively in the last couple of weeks. So I'm expecting no clean sheet for Nico Williams unless he does get an assist or a goal. So that's the defense. It looks pretty solid apart from Nico Williams. That's why I'm considering bringing in Calafiori. But we'll just have to wait and see before the deadline. So now let's look at what the midfield is going to be looking like. And of course, if you want to be seeing my final team, I usually post my final team over on Instagram and TikTok. All the links are down in the description. So in midfield, you're going to be having Salah against Chelsea. Of course, Chelsea have been looking very poor defensively in the league, but I'm looked very good defensively in the Champions League for some weird reason. They managed to keep Benfica out, although Benfica looked very threatening. Maybe just the quality of the team, to be honest. And then Salah has not been able to get a goal or an assist in the past, I think, 2 game weeks, 3 game weeks. So hoping that can be able to improve against a Chelsea team, which are going to be very poor defensively since they don't have Chaloba in there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to line up in defense. But I'm do hoping for a Salah masterclass. Then we have Semenyo against Fulham. Of course, Fulham did lose to Aston Villa during the weekend, and Aston Villa are very shocking in front of goal. So I'm expecting Semenya to be able to perform in that fixture. Then we have Kudus against Leeds. He was rested against Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. So I'm sure he's going to be very much energized for this Leeds fixture. Of course, the promoted teams have looked very good defensively so far. So I hope that I hope that Kudus and Co can be able to get a goal or get an assist. Then we have Rangers against Brentford. Brentford have been looking very shocking defensively. Although they did win at Manchester United, they're still looking very shocking defensively. And I hope that Rangers can and Man City can be able to exploit that. That's the same goes for Jeremy Doku there. Of course, there's always the risk of the Pep roulette. They just considered late on to Monaco to draw 2-2, and Rangers and Doku, I think, played the whole game. So we're interesting to see if they're going to be rotation or not. But I do believe Rangers and Doku are going to start against Brentford, and I hope they're going to be able to perform. Well, that's the midfield. Now let's look at the forward line. So this is how the forward line is looking like. We have Haaland against Brentford. I think he's going to be my captain. Scored 2 goals in the Champions League. He's looking very sharp in front of goal. He's also had added heading into his itinerary. So I hope that he can be able to exploit that and be able to score against Brentford. Then you have Joe Pedro finishing off the team, playing against Liverpool. Of course, I almost forgot about Liverpool because they've Alisson is not going to be playing in this fixture, so there's a high chance there can be a lot of goals since Alisson just saves everything. If you saw the Crystal Palace game, you know what I'm saying. So hope that Joe Pedro can be able to score a few goals here and there. Although he did pick up a red card in the Champions League, which was hilarious. Three red cards in 3 games for Chelsea. Very, very funny, but it does not affect the Premier League, and hope he's going to be able to perform. Then we have Dubravka against Aston Villa. Maybe might be at the chance to start Dubravka instead of Sanchez, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And maybe Esteve instead of Nico Williams as well. But no, I don't want to double up on Burnley defense, but we'll see before the deadline. So we then have Diouf against Arsenal is going to be on the bench. and go against Liverpool wherever he is, big up his team. So that's the team for Game Week 7. I think it looks pretty solid, hoping for another green arrow. And let me know in the comments what you think about the transfer I've mentioned. Should I do Salah to Saka or Nico Williams to Calafiori, or just take a -4 and get both Saka and Calafiori into the team? It's another long video. As always, if you managed to reach this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all guys later. Bye bye.